Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating source text that completely upends, totally flips conventional wisdom about what it actually means to mature spiritually. We are looking at the very first true sign of spiritual growth. The author hooks us right out of the gate with this incredibly direct question. Are you actually growing spiritually? It's a fundamental question that so many of us struggle to answer objectively, right? Like, how do you even measure something that's totally invisible? The text challenges us to really pause and consider if we're making genuine, measurable progress in our internal lives, or if we are perhaps fooling ourselves.
Or on the flip side, are you just going through the motions? Honestly, have you ever caught yourself wondering if your character is genuinely shifting, or if you're just kind of stuck on this endless religious treadmill, mistaking sheer busyness for actual advancement?
Well, to figure that out, the source text tells us we have to tackle the spiritual growth myth. It is just so common to mistake real spiritual growth for outward discipline. Things like possessing more Bible knowledge, praying longer, serving more, fasting, or doing public ministry. We naturally gravitate toward things we can count and show off. But the text draws a really striking parallel to the historical Pharisees here. They had all the rigorous discipline and scriptural knowledge in the world, yet they completely lacked deeper transformation.
So what we're looking at is the sharp contrast between doing more and becoming more. Doing a bunch of spiritual activities absolutely does not automatically equal a changed heart. Growth isn't about what you check off a to-do list. It's fundamentally about who you are becoming at your absolute core.
So if just doing more stuff isn't the answer, then we have to build on the foundation of humility.
According to the text, the absolute first indicator of growth is not becoming more self-sufficient or more independent. No way. The first sign is actually a growing awareness of your complete dependence on God. It's this massive paradigm shift. As you grow, you don't suddenly realize how incredibly strong you are. You realize how desperately you need help.
And biblical history is literally packed with examples of this. Take Isaiah facing God's holiness. His immediate reaction was this profound awareness of his own limits. Or Peter witnessing Jesus' power and immediately recognizing his own inadequacy. Or Paul, as he matured, constantly emphasizing grace over his own strength. The pattern is just undeniable. The closer people draw to the divine, the more aware they become of their own limitations. Which creates a really powerful paradox. Immature faith often breeds arrogance and self-confidence. You kind of think you know it all. But true maturity, that creates God confidence. It makes you way less focused on proving your worth and infinitely more teachable and grateful. And that foundation of humility sets the stage for the internal heart shift. There is this fascinating, almost step-by-step progression to self-awareness that happens long before anyone else notices. It usually starts where, let's be honest, a lot of us begin, being hyper-aware of everyone else's faults. But as you grow, that attention shifts inward. You start noticing your own attitudes that need correcting. And finally, step 3, you actually welcome God's internal examination, realizing it's a diagnostic tool for real transformation, not some kind of crushing condemnation. Along with that new self-awareness comes a completely different appetite. We move from just consuming mere information out of obligation or for entertainment to genuinely craving deep truth for transformation and wisdom. Suddenly, what used to feel like just another boring Sunday routine becomes deeply personal and profoundly fascinating. I absolutely love this quote from the text. Spiritual light reveals what darkness hides. It's so true, right? Becoming suddenly hyper-aware of casual words or bad habits that never bothered you before, that isn't a sign that you're failing. It's actual evidence of growth, because healthy things naturally respond to correction. Now, as this internal transformation really takes root, it inevitably reshapes your priorities and your relationships with people. Suddenly, chasing external validation just completely loses its grip. The immature mindset is always living for applause and public approval, obsessing over pleasing people. But a mature believer shifts their ultimate priority to pleasing God. They start asking, what does God think? And that single question rewires your decisions entirely. Because, as the text distills it so perfectly, purpose always outlasts popularity. Choosing to align with enduring spiritual goals is always going to outlive the temporary applause of a crowd. And this mindset shift builds some incredible real-world resilience. Think about how we react to circumstances. Immature faith totally depends on things going well.
but mature faith holds steady and trusts God during deep uncertainty. When hardships hit, immaturity weakens, while maturity produces rock-solid stability. And it completely changes how we view others, too. It's super easy to have affection for easy people, but mature faith actually provides grace for the difficult ones.
Finally, the source drives us toward what it calls the absolute clearest sign of all, relationship over religion.
The ultimate shift happens when you strip away the religious performance, like routine prayers, gathering mere information, or just musical worship, and you start measuring your growth by intimacy. It transitions from a performance you're putting on for an audience to truly knowing God personally and treating faith as a real relationship.
If your focus is just on looking the part, you've missed the entire point of the journey. As the text says, the ultimate goal is not religious performance. The ultimate goal is knowing God. So the final revelation the author leaves us with is this: spiritual growth begins quietly in the hidden places of the heart. This profound transformation is one of the greatest works that can happen in a human life, and it happens quietly in our desires and our minds long before it's ever visible to the public. Which leaves us with this final, provocative challenge for our own lives. Are you actually willing to invite that hidden internal change today? Are you ready to stop performing and start transforming? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gave you a fresh perspective for your own journey.